There are crazinesses, there are insanities that are being easily practiced in the black community that really need to be addressed at this juncture. Do you understand what I'm saying? The probability of certain crazy behavior is significantly reduced. Significantly. When you hop out of the black community. What are the odds that a bunch of men serious with women, like this is a woman that you love, you have taken her home to your mom, the odds of any of your boys seeing even her shoulder blade, never mind her breasts, are very low if you are not her husband. But Tina, our nudes, aboniswa madoda mang, Tina, our angry spurts, harelwana, men just leave and then they're like, is it safe for me to enter? They don't appropriately respond to the stress or the distress call of our tears, and they have no love. And those among them who are a little bit better still hang out with each other. And so bad company corrupts good character. It happened with the very ex-boyfriend, now the frontals, or the one who was telling me about his girls' nudes. He was a good guy until he just became nasty. What made him nasty? Other black men. He just kept on getting counseled trash until he ran with the grain. So even if you find yourself one of the rare ones, they could get taken by the tsunami of the fact that they've got a whack friend. A whack friend. They listen to men first and foremost before they listen to women, and it's understandable because that's just how it ought to be. They must sharpen one another as iron sharpens iron. But if at all, it's not a sharpening but a blunting of one another. Aye, we're done for. You eliminate the issue altogether. Not altogether, but largely, you reduce the likelihood that you guys, let me just say this. It is highly unlikely that 7, 12, 15 years into your marriage, your white husband is going to rock up and say he wants to take Lisa for a second wife. It's highly unlikely, but not with a black man. Not with a black man. And that's the thing that's made me be like, Yazin, first and foremost, I don't even think I'm going to get married. Singlehood is kind of giving right now, but should I get married, aye, guys, it's unlikely going to be a brother. It's unlikely going to be a black man. Only because I am too old, do you understand? To experiment with the possibility that he might be a cut above the rest, the rare one. Only because I'm experimenting with the possibility that he's different. They use the Bible to massacre women. They bash us on the head with it. They're ungodly. They're not seeking the Lord. But I have this also to say, bafazi. And men, if they're at all, they're still lingering on this conversation. Yeah, it is your gods that are to blame. Every culture has their nasties. Middle Eastern women are out here harassed by, you are not going to study and you're going to marry me at 12. That's their issue. They got to deal with it. If they want a man that's going to respect the fact that you don't marry minors, they're probably going to have to hop over to another race too. But like we have this for a problem because our gods have taught us this kind of rubbish, right? Yeah. Well, if you want rescue from the grain of what a god is teaching you, you need to leave that God. If you want to be rescued from a God that is also teaching your people rubbish, you must seek out people, if at all you insist on sticking around amidst them in your community, that have abandoned their gods for your God. You need to actively, deliberately seek out other Christians, and you can find them by their fruit. I have met many men that claim to be of God but weren't, and that's why Kitabaso, the guy from America, claimed to be Christian. Guy from MTN claimed to be Christian. Like, yeah, they claim to be Christian and then they bore these horrible fruit. So for me, it's like, maybe even this lie of pretending to be a believer when you are not. Maybe it's also prevalent in blacks. I don't know. Angazi. But I can't even trust that a man speaking a whole chunk of Christianese is truly that thing, because they just appear to be running with their passions no matter what. I am certain that I'm probably blanket applying right now. It's not generalistic, this thing, but I've got a PTSD, and a severe one at that, from black men to a point where I feel like I could kill. Like I thoroughly feel like I could kill. I am exhausted. Like I'm tired. On TikTok, allow me to tell you what I listened to on TikTok. There was a woman out here rapping on about isitembu, and the very thing that I'm complaining about right now. Y'all don't know how much pain the women are enduring. You will end up in a psychiatric hospital, lolimala, especially when a woman has invested all of her might in building a man, and then next thing he goes and gives everything they built together to a nyati that rocks up and becomes a second wife. I'm like, yo, this thing is that common. Shar, ay man, no wonder again, it was ironic that I happened upon that TikTok today after the nightmare I got last night. It was all just mapping together to a point where I delivered this message. They call it, sorry, you're not easy tempo thing. There's this sudden shock attack surprise coming from out of nowhere like a bat out of hell, where a guy's gonna suddenly say, "Kwata honyal." The next TikTok that I saw was of, not next, but about 2 or 3 days ago, I saw on TikTok some idiot, like, guys, yes, I can't deal, some dude, you know, music is very emotionally moving, it's charging. I'm personally triggered by music. I'm emotionally charged by music. I'm a musical being, and I'm grateful to God for that. And for those reasons, I therefore have to be very careful with what music I consume, because I'm very influenced by music. Yeah, music can make you attach a certain sentiment to something that you're watching. So if you are watching a menacing, horrific, ugly thing, you can actually minimize how menacing and horrific it is just by mere virtue of what music is playing in the background. You know, that emotional music that's like da, 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 like some white girl are just singing with a very ethereal voice, and there's like all this like violin and piano going in the background. It's basically there to inspire tears, like something that is there to inspire emotion, like sentiment, endearment, you know? Yeah, that kind of music playing behind this video. And this man is on the floor, not on the floor, but he's walking around all sad. And the camera every so often goes in slow motion, and you are expecting this man, you are tempted as you are watching this TikTok to feel for this man. But when you read the POV, whatever even POV stands for, but the little caption on top there, right? As to why this man is just standing there looking all somber with his hand on his head and him feeling like, you know, very heavy type establishment thing. When you read it, it read, one of my wives is leaving me. That's like it, man. I can't. Emotional music. A man looking bereft, you are expecting him to say, I lost my wife, she died. Or my kid was in an accident. Or my mother is sick. Something to inspire emotion in us so we can see why this man is so sad in the video and looking so, you know. And when you read on top, however, it says, one of my wives is divorcing me. What? As when I saw that TikTok, I didn't even go to the comment section, because me, I don't want to be grieved by South Africa saying askisi putwam. Ha, then daughter uzoba right, man. At least you've got wife number 2, 4, and 7. This little idiot was sorrowful because one of his wives was divorcing him, and he was trying to inspire our compassion. Hey, I was like, I know, yeah, this is South Africa now. I didn't expect this country to end up like this, but it is. Indoda yenja. Busy expecting compassion on TikTok because one of his many wives finally realized, Uguti, I'm not about this business. This is too freaking painful. I'm not gonna share you with 3 other women. So she divorced him, and he came to TikTok on some, my wife is divorcing me. No, it's not your wife is divorcing you. It's one of your lackeys that woke up from the slumber of insanity and decided that I deserve more. But it was on TikTok, and it had hundreds of thousands of likes, of hearts, and of course, a whole chunk of comments. I couldn't even go in the comments section because I knew that South Africans approve of this rubbish. But there's no, why would you like that video 250,000 times if you don't approve of it? One of my wives left me. She was wise. One of my wives left me. That was the TikTok. Aski, see, they've been spoiled. Like I said, all they do is win, no matter what. Like literally, no matter what. And they expect then all of us to feel sorry for them. I mean, far be it from me. The day when I would divorce a man like that and him do a TikTok on some, oh, Karabo left me. Wangtella. Oloko pa South Africa kaofela. When I finally walked out of your greed, your rapacity, your lasciviousness, your licentiousness, the fact that you could not maintain yourself in a bunch, the fact that the first wife that you took, you could not respect her by not gawking at your personal assistant. Ingati, she was a piece of meat every day until you took her home as inyats and said she must be my second wife. Far be it from me. When I would one day be the wife that you're crying, telling everybody, Karabo left me. Suga, you had to be left. But then again, I wouldn't leave him, I would kill him. It's what I'm getting at. Like, I have been literally saying the same thing over and over and over again. Basadi, you have taken it. It has spread like a gangrene, Lankutla. And now, these little boys that have got multiple moms in one house are able to even inspire compassion in a whole bunch of people on TikTok because they are normalizing crap. They're normalizing trash. You are not going to find some white dude on TikTok speaking about how one of his wives is leaving him, unless he's a Mormon, and we all know to avoid Mormons, right? Largely, there are certain places where you can be safe, guys. I'm sorry, black men. I don't know. Angazi. But you see, with every dark, dingy cloud, there is always a silver lining. there is always a silver lining. In the same batch of TikToks that I was out here watching, there was then a man out here making a comment about the very kind of woman that I'm lamenting about. And it's a black man. Remember, TikTok recommends black content to me because it knows somehow that I'm black, even though I'm logged out and I'm South African. It knows that I will understand what's being spoken there. Yeah, so here is this black man rebuking like and everything out of his bones, and he wasn't even a Christian. One of these Nyasis. He was rebuking one of these Nyasis. One of these makwapenis. He was rebuking one of these random women happy to take in their stride the crushing of another woman. And it made me feel so good inside. Because I was like, okay, so if any man, black man in this country can see the necessity to feverishly rebuke umfazi priding themselves in stealing a husband, then maybe there are black men that aren't taken by the tsunami of this rubbish. That was a silver lining. This man was out here on some... The woman had written a comment somewhere on one of his videos, and he took that comment, pasted it on top, and it read something along the lines of, "Ooh, Lontuza is my husband, I don't care what anybody says." And then she puts a rose emoji over there. And this guy is like, "Ungazongi bora." The man that you are dealing with right now is married he's a civil law marriage. In civil law, meaning that if you claim to be umfazwake, you are not his wife, because he did not divorce his wife and then take you. You are not married in customary law such that polygamy would be allowable. So all you are right now is inyatsi etelele umfazi. You are a nyatsi that has disrespected a woman, that has caused a woman to leave her house ngoba ubhizi umlandele emuva ngamatikoloshi nama anaconda. Those are the words that he used verbatim. He was like uqoshe umfazi out of indlu yakhe ngama anaconda namatikoloshi. That means you kicked the woman out of her house with your tigoloshis and your anacondas cause udlans old lawyer until she walked out. But that man didn't even divorce her, and then you moved into that house and called him your husband. Unyadzi, umakwapeni, or side piece, that's what you are, but one that looks very much like a wife. Because you are living in the house that that man and that woman built together, but she ran out because of anaconda wako. Long story short, this man acknowledged the existence of witchcraft, and he also acknowledged in Dabayoguti, you are not a legitimate wife. And if men can do that, if men can protect abafazi that are reeling, then maybe there's hope after all for black women. If bakona among us amadota that will not only ransack the rhetoric of these foolish men that allow women to be burned beyond recognition, but also rebuke abotegin that keep on rocking up and putting a woman aside and disregarding her emotions, then maybe I have a husband in the black community. Maybe I do. Maybe he does exist, but I don't even know how in the world under heaven I would ever identify him as such. I'm a daughter that would actively literally have a whole YouTube account or a TikTok channel. So a YouTube channel or a TikTok account or a Facebook page dedicated to rebuking the complacency and the acceptance by women of men that are greedy. Even though there's a 50% split down the middle ratio of men and women, they keep on stealing women from men that need them because they have taken a second and a third and a fourth wife and then claimed that David did it. And also then speak against the women who allow this to be a total thing. You see, women, we struggle to get heard, haribua, because vele the voices of men were supposed to be loftier than ours. Indeed. So therefore, when men speak our pain, that's when the revolution starts. Men, when they say this is wrong, that's when it starts to get better. When they start to acknowledge our emotions and when they start to take the side of the broken, bereft woman, or she wenje, or that's being forced to embrace a second or a third or fourth wife when she was number one in the picture. Yeah, men, when they stand against this insanity, that's when it starts to look like maybe it's possible for me to recover. But right now, like just the absence of such voices in the black community by men is giving me despair concerning hope, because unless men rise up, women will keep on being docile, because at the end of the day, our desire is always going to be for our husbands. We are always going to be docile under the general sentiment of men. And there will only be a remnant of us that are happy to rise up. But that remnant of us will always be ostracized and treated horrifically and sidelined as angry black women to not be taken too seriously. That's the sad thing about us complaining. But when then men join that particular complaint and rebuke the little complacency of banababa greedy, maybe honale hope. So if I happen upon more than just that one TikTok man but maybe like 10 of them over the next like 3 weeks, maybe, just maybe, I might think it's possible for me to marry a man in the black community. Maybe it is possible for there to be a man that exists that has friends that aren't crazy in the head, showing the nudes of their wives to their best friends. Maybe there are men that aren't out just speaking about women like they ain't jack to a point of the abuse of these women. Maybe there are men who, when a woman cries, they panic. Maybe there are men who, when a woman has had their back and been ride or die, will consider that when they're busy flirting with the secretary. Maybe there are men who are gouging out their eye, cutting off their hands, and not using the Bible to lambaste women further. Maybe they live. But I'd have to find more than one, because so far I've only met one. I've only found one that rebuked Inyatsi. I don't want to give up on the black community, but I am exhausted with black indiscretion. And I've been made homicidal against this particular grain of black men, literally trying to take me kankane ka korobela. Insofar as people can acknowledge hore, I have been single for 13 years since my last relationship, because insofar as people can admit, she wasn't there for him, she wasn't ride or die, and yes, she came and rode the bandwagon. And the next thing they get later on around an athletics patch, trying to make me look like some irresponsible rando. Insofar as I can get people admitting that I've been done dirty, but maybe I can see myself reconciling with black people, because you see, God has come upon the earth not to bring peace but a sword. There will always be division. There will always be people who are for a particular agenda and then against. There will always be people who are pro-Christ and those who are anti-Christ. That's what's good. But insofar as I can't find these pro-Christ Christians, these pro-Christ people. If I can't find them, I'm going to flee to another race. It's that basic. I'm going to literally run away. In the black community, bakhona abantu that resonate my sentiment. If abakho, mina ngizohamba. Kodwa ukuhamba kwami ga ke sathibwa gakana. I am being severely blocked by possessive black folks who have taken this rubbish in their stride. Women who are bitter, men who are rapacious. To a point where I'm facing death. This year appears to be lending over to a martyrdom, and if I get martyred, latching onto your ancestors to a point where, despite them killing and destroying and stealing from your community, you just like continue to serve them. You black women who have been ransacked by black male indiscretion, and yet you continue to serve ama gods, ama ancestors that don't love you, and in Tandwa, they are not benevolent. They also don't train your men to be bigger and better than that. Men are happy to stay babies, little whatever. And not only that, they are happy, despite being little baby boys in diapers, to take 4 or 5 wives. Now they are like forcing you to just accept nonsense. When you don't want to take it, eat divorce in your stride. And if you're a Christian, you can't marry and remarry without sinning and committing adultery. So like I said, the gods of black culture, the gods of Africa, adultery is the sin that they are infiltrating. Idolatry, witchcraft, they've infiltrated that. Heresies, they've infiltrated that. And in extreme cases, even murder. It has manufactured gender-based violence. It has caused your countries to be unstable. Look at Africa. You and your ancestral worship all across it, we are poor because there is something that is just falling apart. Your gods have not thrived your lands, even though you've got so many rich natural resources. You are so rich in natural resources, and yet you are just like maintained in a grain of poverty. Because hey, you gotta maintain your roots. Here it is that a billionaire woman, Beyonce Knowles Carter, is literally trying to invest in gods of poverty, strain, stress, sorrow, and female abandonment, because she wants to go back to her gods of Africa. She is drawn to them because she can't help but be drawn to them, and now is trying to make all of y'all worship Oshun. Oshun, of which has done nothing for black women in Africa. But here it is that Beyonce calls herself a feminist pro-woman. She calls herself a whatever, and yet she is running with Oshun. You can't help but default to it. I feel as if though if your gods have disappointed you so severely, why not change over? It's time for a new haul. Hey, you need a god haul. You need a change of god. Your gods have disappointed you like devastatingly. Women, you cannot progress in the black community. In black culture, you are literally not able to overwhelm the grain of old school mindsets concerning women, because the gods of your cultures are so misogynistic that you can't breathe, to a point where you are literally retracting back to polygamy after conquering it. That's happening in Africa. you are going right back to the grain of your gods, insisting upon it. They are maintaining you in adultery, and the best way, apparently, allegedly, to flee from being an adulterous man that never marries women, the baby daddy culture, is to then just go and grab 5 women and marry all of them at once. That's the black man's solution to adultery. They no self-control, no brittle your flesh, no beat your flesh into submission, no gouge out your eye and cut off your hand, no flee from sexual sin, no exercise restraint, delayed gratification, no self-denial. Just look, I clearly cannot keep one woman, so I'm gonna have 10 wives. Those are your gods. They don't care for women, and they are not inspiring men to be more manly. But you have a God in the Bible that insists that men love you as he loved the church, that if they're going to be servants of God, they must be husbands of one wife, above reproach, able to teach, lead. God is the one that insists that they listen to you, or their prayers are as good as empty, vacuous steam, vapor. Their prayers are going to be hindered if they don't listen to you. You have a God that is telling men on your behalf, you don't get to do that to my daughter. And you are still staying with your ancestors. What have they done for you over these ages? They have literally brought polygamy back to civilized Africa, to gentrified Africa. They have brought polygamy back to progressed Africa, to industrialized Africa. They have brought polygamy back to post-colonialism Africa. Why are you still with them? Like, yo, it eludes me. They have made you embrace something that we thought were done with this thing. Not anymore. We are independent women in corporate South Africa and in the business arena and elsewhere. My husband is just gonna get it because now we are industrialized, eh? We are modernized. Yeah, he's gonna get that he doesn't get to take a freaking 3rd wife. But no, they don't get that. Because you see, their gods are ancient and they insist on adultery. They insist on witchcraft. They insist on idolatry. They insist on heresies. They insist on strife. They insist on murder. They insist on fornication. So, I mean, if I can't brittle my flesh, I'm just gonna take 10 wives. Yeah, and the same bugger manages to cheat on his 10 wives. Because those are your gods. Yeah, those are your gods. I'm waiting for 2 or 3 or 5 more men to pull out of the woodworks and resist this movement. If they do, maybe if God sees it fit to give me a husband, I might marry a black man and the 2 of us might actually fight for this cause. A black man who will have friends that are of the same mindset, and so he's not going to get taken by the tsunami of friends showing him nudes of their wives. Yeah, but otherwise, as at this particular juncture, I'm low-key giving up on black men because I am trying to eradicate the prospect, the possibility of ending up some very furious and murderous homicidal wife with the blood of her husband on a dripping knife because he dared try and bring me inyatsi 2, 3, 5 years into our marriage because he thought his name was David. Yeah, that's what's good. It's gonna take a little bit of a muchness, a minute, a bit of a beefy litombolo to recover me to black men. Right now, but the one black man that I listened to today on TikTok gave me some kind of semblance of hope that maybe hahod that bad, that they exist out there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But one is not enough. Out of what? How many millions of us are there in South Africa? I think 40 million. And South Africa is just one little country in a continent called Africa, coupled with all the other black men littered across the earth in all other continents. Yeah. Herein lies the total serious deal. I need more black men to rise up. I need to hear of more of them. I need to have enough, more accounts of them doing differently. Otherwise, the odds are just not sufficiently inspiring for me to trust one. I can't, because here it is that black men have put me in a little jail. They've made themselves like Davy Jones and they think I'm Calypso in Pirates of the Caribbean. They out here having a rough time letting me go because they feel as if though I broke their hearts even though I was never even with you. Calypso is like Davy Jones. You have become a monster. Yeah, I'm out here speaking to a man on some Davy Jones. Jabu, Tiepiso, Seasway. You have become a monster. Because you used to be a better man than that. And this dude is out here holding me captive because like Calypso, when you get released to be the fullness of yourself, they just can't deal. So they hold you hostage because their hearts are bereft over the fact that you rejected them. Davy Jones, you have become a monster. I must just take in my stride that I'm gonna die at the hands of a man. If at all I don't take him in my stride. A man that threatened me with a casket, with a funeral, with poverty. I must just marry him because I am tired. Davy Jones has become a monster and won't let Calypso go free. Go watch Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest and see the story of Davy Jones. That's how these black men be sometimes to women. He will hold you hostage so you can't wear the fullness of your person until you, I don't know, do what? Okay, take him in your stride. Nah, black men, wait again. We get that maybe I can't marry one of y'all and be free, but maybe I could marry a white guy. And even then, it really is going to not have been a decision out of racism or selectivism or whatever. It's just a self-preservation decision. It's just unsafe. It's just unsafe. I even spoke about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and like in one of my other videos, speaking about how it is that if a person does not feel a sense of security and safety, they cannot affiliate. And black men, you've made yourselves dangerous. And I dream. So because I keep on seeing all their witchcraft, I'm sorry, Davy Jones, you've held me hostage as Calypso, and now I must be a Calypso that is okay with being like, what, 4th, 5th, 7th wife, and just crushing the bones of the first wife. That is a good, like, what, 20 years older than me. Like, I literally do apologize. I'm sorry. You are entitled. It's that exquisitely basic. You are entitled. Yeah, anyway, that's what I gotta say. Now, as for the dream that I had, as to a point where I would do this very lengthy video. In this dream, I was trying to explain to the grown children, guys, like they were maybe like 24, 5, 6, grown children of some Davy Jones animal, that I'm gonna be marrying your dad now. I am not old enough to have a 27-year-old child. We get that I am so old that I should have maybe teenage kids, but I am certainly not old enough to have a 27-year-old child unless I was a teenage pregnancy or something. And here it is that I was speaking to kids that felt patronized by me, to them, as to why it is that it is not justifiable that I have to break their mom's heart. Like literally 23, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old children of a man. And I was busy telling them, look, I love your dad. And it's not like he's divorcing your mom. I'm just a second wife. So this is a man, if at all he's got kids that are 28, 7, 6, he must be ever so slightly younger than my mom. As if though I am content, given that I'm 40 freaking years old, to be with Ikehla, Engag. That would be a man that's thoroughly like 20 years, 15 maybe, older than me. We get I'm older, but I still don't want Ikehla Engago. Angazengi food. There was a man I dreamt of a man who has kids that were still the proper like Gen Zs and entering into millennials, expecting me to somehow explain to his kids, when they look at me, they see someone likely even their peer. Like, I look their age. I might be 40, but I look like 27, 8, right? So here it is that I'm standing in front of a 27-year-old, 8-year-old, looking at me on some, how old are you? And then when they hear I'm 40, be like, oh, okay, you're older than you look, but still. Like, what are you doing with my dad? Because he could have totally been your dad. What are you doing with your dad? Because he could have totally been your dad. Like, proper. I was literally negotiating with some old kids, telling them why I gotta move into the house and that their mom is not to be pained because I'm not really replacing her. It's just that I am with their dad and marrying him as a second wife because that's what David did. Guys, I was literally explaining to these kids that David did it, so therefore your daddy can. Yeah. I was busy telling these kids that David did it, so therefore your father can. You know the way that I am so influential and able to explain a whole bunch of stuff? I was using my biblical knowledge in this dream to comfort these disquieted 27-year-old children as to why it is that I was justifiably afflicting the heart of their mom. Therein lies a woman that has raised children with a man from toddler, from infant to toddler to preteen to teen to young adult to young professionals, married men, maybe even, and women. A woman that's been there for a man for all those years. Having likely built an empire with him, you've built an empire with this man. I don't know what in the world is going on. I feel like it's Satan. Oh no. It's Wi-Fi, for crying out loud. I switched it off almost. Yeah, here it is that you have built an empire with a man. You were there from the very get-go. You met him when you were 22. The two of y'all built something beautiful. You raised beautiful kids. That should make it better. Okay, I removed the sound and whatnot from my phone. Yeah, you've raised kids together. You've gone through the moats. You've disciplined kids together. You've picked up kids from nightclubs drunk. You've done all that. Okay? And then this like idiot animal rocks up with Karabo. He bathong. Nna bathong ha di tlong disreputa la nkutlo. Ha di tlong ketsa mosadi o tlo khotlang. Nkare ke le tlhokwana la matches. Mo tsebeng. Mosadi, you are not gonna make me do that. Like, I'm just not. Like, you literally are not gonna do that. I was like using my knowledge of the word of God, biblical principles, to help these kids understand why after, I mean, if you've got 27-year-old kids, 26-year-old kids, maybe it's 30 years of marriage. Yeah, it could be like 30 years of marriage. Or maybe if these kids were born out of wedlock, 25 years of marriage. You are expecting me to go to a woman who has had a silver anniversary and say, David did it. Kaze ngibuka ubani la YouTube. Ke shebile ke mang, guys? Ke mang shebile ngo YouTube? Abo khehla nje, abana 60. I am being looked at by such old men that they would have had a silver anniversary. My peers are running towards a silver anniversary if they married really young. Really young. Like if they married when they were like 20 or 19, maybe they could be doing 25 years in the next couple of years. But largely, my peers are gunning for something like 10-year anniversary. 15 at the highest. But I'm dealing with men that have had a silver anniversary. Out here trying to make me the thing that's going to afflict Umfazi that is so old that she is probably going to look at me with so much pain for the youth that I still have in my face. She's going to be so insecure. A woman whose best years are behind her. A woman who is creased on the face, likely has had some cosmetic surgery. A woman that has got grown kids that look just like me. And I need to go manje mina ngiyoshapa kanhlapa nje fela kampama musadi ojwala. I need to go and disrespect umama kanjalo. Umfazi that mina personally I could call umama. I could call her umama. Kodwa she's a sister wife. Even my mom would be ashamed of herself. Lanza sinatabagana. She'd be ashamed of me, my mom. Like proper. They are begging us to hate each other. They are begging us to disrespect each other. Begging us. Huribita amapenchisi because we are that much younger than them. They can spill imali nje in our girls sizothatha anything in our stride. Indoda ezozwisa ubuhlungu umfazi omdala kangaka. Kasi inhlonipho yakhe, all her dignity thrown out the window because indoda yakhona is marrying. I mean, I'm 40, guys. Yeah, I'm 40, but I am still very young for a woman ona 57. I'm still a heartbreak to that. As in, angazi like y'all, I could say wahlanywa mo strateng. Utloba married to a woman for that many years wrong. Obosnantaba live the way that omotlhorisang ka teng ka indiscretion. Senyo explain na mina to abantwana abakhulile that kwamele mina ngichatha into ubaba wenu even though he's not divorcing your mom. Sure. I woke up this morning, you know, when I sat upright in a 90-degree angle out of bed after waking up from that dream, I sat there with my hand like this on my head. And I was like, God, is this thing gonna, like literally the question I asked God was, is this gonna kill me? I asked God, is this gonna kill me? Because how it looks like how it doesn't matter what I say. Man. Ba tseba go ba tshiriane na ke ba rate ba tseba go kana taba la ba ka tlhokafala mara sentse ne bang lawyer ke eng ntwe tlo fosa nga botlhoko hakana. They know that I don't like them. They know I hate them. They know that they are disgusting, licentious, and that I want nothing to do with them. They know that I dream. I get visions. They know that ke bona boloyi. They know that I know that batwele, and yet they keep insisting. That's what that meant, more or less. And yet they continue. Is this gonna kill me? I kept asking God, just be honest with me, God. Like, just let me know. Is this gonna end in my funeral? Because, hi, Bunny, I am at the mercy of these menacing psychopaths. I won't ever breathe. Are you telling me I will never see money again? Are you telling me I won't monetize? Like, how long is this gonna carry on? I mean, why do they keep trying? I mean, does it not ooze? Is it not coming off me? Is it not evaporating like a gas? My exquisite hatred for this. Have I not been sufficiently convincing? Like, I need to understand, guys. Can somebody be that hard of hearing? Then again, when I say guys, ki bole mang. Bona fela kere. I am dealing with disgusting men that are looking at me. Eventually manifest into something. Because I care about manifest abasadi. Ba manifest a chelete. Law of attraction. Into all different kinds of satanic occult practices so they feel like they can frigging manifest me. Is this what's going on? A ke tlhaloganyo re tsalang or ke tlhoriso? Do they feel ingati enough attrition will succeed to inspire subterfuge where I'm concerned? Is that what's going on? Do they feel as if though insofar as they put me under enough pressure, if they put a hot enough stove underneath my buttocks, I will eventually jump into one of their laps? I don't freaking know. But one thing that is certain is that I woke up singing Cell Block Tango. They had it coming. They had it coming. They only had themselves to blame. I didn't do it. But if I'd done it, would you say that it was a crime? I just woke up homicidal because the question that I asked myself and I asked God was, is this going to end in my death? Because ntwena yang polaya clearly. But then once I graduated from wondering if I'm going to die, I started to think maybe I'm going to kill. That's the level of frustration I'm endured under at the hands of these merciless psychopaths. Somebody here gotta die. And I keep praying feverishly to God to kill them. 5 a.m. in the morning, night before 6 a.m. in the morning, just praying, overwhelming, sleepy. Whatever it is that was the demon of sleep that was trying to make me sleep. So I don't pray in tongues all night long to sweep this out. And then I wake up in the morning and this here is still a concern. It's like I literally can't pray myself out of this. Apparently I can't pray enough to make stupid, licentious, disgusting men see that I understand that you're the only people listening to me because le bribile YouTube kaofela. Mara still like le rata ke le batle le tsheriane la nyonsa. That'll never change. The only thing here is that kutlula basadi ba teng e botlhoko because ba nyetseng. Mara le basadi ba teng. This is also another thing, right? Le ikentse bothekeng because ha le rate ba bang basadi. Ha le rate hape le modimo. And since le busy le worship badimo when God is the only God. He is the only one that can protect you from the swibingitse all over the show. South Africa that have made this nonsense an acceptable norm. You don't love Jesus. That's the problem. Your ancestors that hate women keep on ravaging inhliziyo zenu, and you keep on going back to them like a boomerang. You've got an unhealthy relationship with ancestors because they've done nothing for you. You've got a trauma-bonded relationship. You are suffering severely from Stockholm Syndrome with ancestors. Mudimo has offered you an olive branch out of this rubbish, Mara. You are holding on to him. To them, ancestors is in. Habali tusi. La singetswa ke badimo ba lena. They have destroyed impilo zenu. And abafazi anina abenandaba. You are emotional beings, lankutla. Li utla every last pain more so than any man can ever feel it. And yet, with that kind of sensitivity, ngaphakathi lamadoda akhozwa ngama ancestors enu, they are gods. To ukungabi nendaba yokuthi uzwe ubuhlungu obunye obuhard knock. Your ancestors have caused your boyfriends and your husbands to not care that inyembezi zakho grandshab ziyasinda. Kaze, oh God, ebengenandaba ngani kanjalo nwenzani ngaso? What are you gonna do ngabo? What are you gonna do with gods that don't care about you like that? What you must do now is find another religion. I just feel like y'all gotta find another religion. Find another God. Yo, black women, you need to find another God. One that's working for you, because these ancestors ain't doing jack for you. They ain't. They're keeping your men babies, and they're making your men entitled to polygamy, and they're keeping your emotions like just flailing around, burning oceans, burning bushes, buildings, with nobody coming for you. No reprieve, no staying, no stoppage, no ceasefire. There's literally no cessation of hostilities against the mutiny on your life. But you are still holding on because where they coming from kanjani. Niyafundiswa as children from the time you are little girls to obey men, to submit under them, but despite all that submission, basaba since bale tlapa, since ne balitlisa sa dinyatsi, lena le 50, le nyetswe for 20 years, balitlisa sa dinyatsi. Ba nna ke tlo monka as a second wife ke badimo ba lona mo ba fitileng teng banna ba lena ba thwele la nkutla ba tshware di bomamlambo di ditikoloshi basadi ba le underestimator la rensekena le ntse di tumpana in a cockpit over men ba snang taba le lena le share one grain of rice le cut in half le lwanele like little animals in a cockpit. Ebe monna teng mothotlo winang ntwa a beile blue eye mo fatlhong sa chere engwe ebe monna teng a sa go fikere le lerato lo le tlhokang as the one that won the war against another woman. What kind of a God lets you fight each other like that for scraps of affection when he has said, come to me and eat of the bread of life, for anybody who eats of it shall never hunger. Come to me and drink of the wellspring of life, because anybody who drinks of me shall never thirst. You have got a God in heaven on high that is giving you that promise. that he's an infinite lover of your soul, and he can even protect you as Sarah from Abimelech and Pharaoh. He can rip an indecisive and an indiscriminate man that is there, placed in a position to protect you by God, out the way so that another person can step up to the occasion. Men, busy, but sure, if they must be men, God can just slap them out the way and put an actual man of valor in front of you. That is the God of the Bible. He cares. He says, cast your burdens on me because I care for you. Mara li busy about God, ba misogynistic. You busy about God, liba dimu, langkutwa, baleng chauvinistic, basa rating the cherry, and ba keep tang bana as bana. Those are your gods, and you are holding on to them. I am trying to make a case for Christ against ancestral worship because it's done nothing for Africans all this time. It has only made your men wax from bad to worse. It's made some of the best men horrible. It has made men batwale, batwase. It has made all of y'all embrace amadimoni of which awan seizing ngoba nisa divorce man. Nisa tengiswa for nothing, for scraps. Ama indodakazi zenu zisatshontshwa ngamadoda so that they can't marry the men that have been set apart for them. Indodakazi zenu are still marrying men ba batlapang mme wa teng aba insist go cheka teng go tlhela ko monneng cause mosadi tshwantsa gotlelle ke badimo ba lona bao. Badimo ba lona have said that gender-based violence is okay in certain measure, that you must just discipline a woman. A woman needs to be told who thuswa ukuthi azithobe, except here in last the deal abafazi babantu bamnyama dala sizithoba woneng re ikokobetsa ko baneng ba sna taba ka go ikokobetsa ho. Why? Because they are greedy. Granted that badimo ba teng baba causa adultery, baba causa fornication, baba causa idolatry, baba causa witchcraft, baba causa strife and murder. Modimo o jwalo akasi go thusi go be right Satan wa utswa wa destroya ibene ngwa bolai ha ona engwe ntwa ka yetsang. Do you understand? So janong le etsang ka Satan ka badimo ba lona ba displaying just by mere virtue of how much they've stolen, killed and destroyed in the black community. Hore ga se badimo, hore ga se modimo ka nnete. Because God gives life and life abundantly. From the time you get born again and married all the way up until the two of you all go into eternity. If you can't be happy in a marriage with a man that appreciates you even though you're getting older, because he's trained by the scriptures, by Jesus. Honey, hawanyala in Christ first and foremost too. And outing na ewingetseng ha simzalwane lantsa kena kere kantsa re rantsa tshwere bebele motla sa ampita gage antsa le busy a ikentse moruti ha simzalwane. And happy le wena jaga ga o ntse o tlhoile di cherry tse ding o sa ba rata ba neglectile le wena ha mzalwane. Really too, grandchild, you need redemption, because modimo one net of the Bible wa rata and happy wa fepa happy wa tshireletsa happy. He is into ascertaining that you are maintained in joy, and that satisfaction and contentment is something you can successfully achieve, aspire towards and achieve. And yet there is no success, no contentment, no peace, no real peace anyway in these polygamous establishments of yours. Nishaya ngama side like monster pouncing. Leshapakidi curveball. Guys, lengetse 15 years. How long are you gonna keep on taking the curveball in your stride? Yini le nyongo yok divorce seni chate 25 years msenqedile mus lefedis after 25 years. You've done the trip. Most people within the first 10 years of marriage, they are just trying to think about divorce. When you've done a silver anniversary, I have to say, you like Beyonce's parents. No, whatever their names are, Beyonce's parents, they were married for more than 25 years and then they divorced later on. What's going on in the black community? It's what I'm getting at. Beyonce decided to do strange stuff against Beyonce's mom, and now Beyonce's mom is dating a teenager again, even though she was married to a man for all that long. Like stuff rubbish of that nature happens in the black community. If at all you have been married to a man for 25-30 years, you have done the mile. You might as well retire together, get old together, go into the grave knowing two. You might as well get to 98 knowing two. Instead, I want to be divorced at 65 years old, 70. What? For what? What are you going to do at 75? Divorce? That's going on actually in these streets. In the black community, only 65 and also about that thing, divorce 65 or twice the run. You prided yourself, grandchild, as a woman, or a how you've been married 25 years. And the next thing divorce, askis wait again, guys. Adultery. This rubbish. Your little gods of adultery have made you do this rubbish. And the more money they make, the more they feel like they can grab any little thing from Wits University that will agree to humor their passions at the expense of Umfazwakon. And if this man decides to fall in love heavily with a student from Wits University, angatata in 19-year-old yonke epelele to a 65-year-old woman and say, this here is my second wife. Kabang, una 65. This 19-year-old could be your grandchild, never mind even your child. And yet, indoda yako is making a 19-year-old a sister wife to you. I mean, of course, hell hath no fury on that day, like a woman scorn, of course. I'm sorry, black people. Angazi ukuthi kwenzakalani ngani ne. Mara ngikrent kabuhlungu kabi ngani. And futhi, I'm doing everything in my power ukuphuma kini, ukuphuma kuni na nonke manihlangene. Ngiyanzama kodwa ngegospel kodwa anizameki. Akuhambeki amidst you nonke. It appears as if though akunamuntu ongakhuluma sense to you. Kodwa I still come here in your recorder anyway. Because at the end of the day, just like I said earlier, I've got a fire blanket, an incubator that is going to prevent me alone from burning in this forest fire that's consuming everything whole. And there's space for 1 or 2 people, so that's why I keep on coming here and speaking these lengthy messages every day. Ngizama 1 or 2, because it appears all of you anginkhoni hakelehon kezam ke patilo ke khurmeditse motlasa letlapa a ke tseme nkare ke borotho mo hara bread bean bang khurmeditse lang kutlwe bang kwetse bang kentse scoopate ka mo hara shell ya teng ha ba spice ke lemsa gore nna ke heme ba batla go nyala kankane ntse ke tshokega ke di kene lo tlhokafala bana ene jwanong jaka ga nna ke dila ka khehla hona no eleng so old that ona le bana ba nang le 27. Bottom line is hana le matla motho a teng wang lelekisa mara sentse na mpatla kankane o tlo tlhokafala ha botlhoko hampe ka spitsa paraffin. All I need to do is bring a little bit of tear gas mo roomong and he won't be able to breathe sufficiently to run out of the room cause ase crocodile from Sarafina o mogolo ona le 60. Okay, mara wampata kankane. That's the situation mo South Africa. La madoda are entitled and bafila ingathi bangathakatha wonke umuntu out of prosperity, bangathakatha wonke umuntu into accepting into ebayifunayo, and the only reason why they feel ingathi they can get what they want is precisely because so long they've been winning no matter what. Kanguthi ngama rapper, all they do is win no matter what. Kanguthi no matter what they do, noma bengena character built, no matter they feel as if they're a fortified city. Do you understand? And that nothing can come through to them. They feel like they're an impregnable city. Kaze mina ngizoyenza, I'm already old ne ketwetsa ngezikinze ke fang monna bana onang ni 60 o tlo tlhokafala motho nna go godisa bana ba ka ke li 1 kutlwa already le nna I'm on thin ice already. Bana baka ha nna ke na le 60 ba tla bana le 20 fela already. Nna ha bana baka bana le 30 ke tla be ke na le 70 already. I am on borrowed time. So ke tlo moetsang monna onang ni 60 years old impotseng o tlo ba etsetsang bana baka when these kids of mine are 20 lo muntu lona is in a deathbed tshwantse manje mina nyo attenda I graduation yomntanami angi1 akhalela indaba ukuthi ubaba ushonile last year. Ke tlo moetsang mara bo khehla ba insista because I get that's the thing about the fertility of men. Bona they are fertile all the way until they pass away. Their sperm does not really age like women's eggs. So bayazi uyathemba vele ukuthi akazo shoot ama blanks noma ngaba 78. That's just the way that men are. So that's the reason why they keep on going for younger and younger women. Bazibiza di benches. At this point, proportionally, I am young in comparison to a 57-year-old woman, but I am old in comparison to a 23-year-old woman. So it doesn't really matter how old you are. Insofar as comparatively speaking, you are much younger than some other woman, you are still going to be the bane of their existence. So, ga fika ko 80, ogo ravazaka a 60-year-old woman. It doesn't appear to matter what the age is. It's just about disrespecting women at all. Ke tla moetsa tsang monna onang ni 60 o qeta go shapa 25th year anniversary le mosadi wa teng. Ke tla moetsang bana baka ba tlo gola le ntate mogolo for a dad. What am I going to do with that? Already I'm a low-key grandmother for a mom, but like still young enough to somehow kind of get away with it. Mara herein lies a man on a 60 yangifuna ngenkan to a point of breaking the hearts of his 27-year-old children. What am I supposed to do ka situation eo, guys? Basadi ba South Africa nginzamme not just South Africa but black people at all yini grandshap ening khurumela ingati I'm a bread loaf inside is bread bin or mo garas kaftin since le se mo hara school bag sa ngwana for 3 days se gola moldu se sa tswe cause ngwana teng o irresponsible lenkenza ntho e patilweng fela e sa jeweng ntho e patilweng fela scary e ngwana a sa ijang o gutla gae a rekile kota a togetse sandwich yaka ya tomato and cheese. You have made me an inconsumable thing. Hulukile. Now all I can say to you right now is that ke bakile magwenya. Ke tlise special le acha. I've done what I need to do. Ke tlile go invest ke ka zama ho rekisa magwenya ke le mokhozi wa teng. Lang treatanga ke rabishi ke qennwe he. Ke utswitswe nna ke kidnapilwe ke monna banna ba filang ka rena ba ka nketsa nyatsi e tlo borang mosadi that's been there all this time ale raro die. Lenkenza D-Day. Mara like I said, as a watchman or a watchwoman in this instance, I've said a pestilence is coming. I have said rona le problem mo strateng mona. Balegang lahana ke le zamme janong jaka gantse ke le busy ke rara ke screamer from inside skhurumelo saka seeing as they have hidden me from the rest of y'all. That's what's good. You are without excuse when you claim I did not hear Karabo speak. Why? Because you stood back complacent la-di-da doing absolutely nothing until dinjanyana tsa lona dianka diangtshwarisa zangenzi siboshwa making sure ukuthi mina uKarabo Cran K akakwazi ukukhuluma na more than just 5 people in an audience, one of whom is a thorough like 65-year-old man out here trying to take umfazi ona 40 because he feels ingati the moment you overcome that barricade of the age of 40, the moment you go over your 30s, the moment you overwhelm your 30s, even a man on a 70 zomthatha in your stride. Apparently that's the thing. Kwamele mina ngiyothatha anything la emgaqweni, even though mina when I was 20 menye ngiyojola nendoda ena what do you call this, 40. When I was 20, I wouldn't have dated a guy on a 45. I was going to consider him old. But now that I'm 40, apparently now that he's 65, it's going to be more acceptable. Hiyo lento that we're dealing with right now. Alright, it's okay. Hulukile mo lifeng. Ke tla tsaya indiscretion ya lena. Mar, right now, ke shebana le monna o motho wa legoa haebane ko nyalwa because of this thing, and the only thing that is going to convince me otherwise is a black man that stands up to the occasion. Right now apakho ke patilwe ke khurumeditswe nkare ke skupate mo harashal ya teng by banna ba bodileng, mara I was visible to your naked eyes for long enough for you to realize or hona linkinga mo South Africa ra patwa fela ra bolokwa nka rona re ditopo mo hara casket ra bolokwa la nkutwa batho mo South Africa. We just keep on getting buried like we are cadavers in a casket, and there is nothing we can do. Re breathe our last to a point where I even asked the Lord, God, is this gonna kill me? Situation ena ya go bola ya Satan ena itlongpola ya nampotse modimo haebane ke tloba a martyr. If I'm going to die a martyr's death, just let me know, please, because like end it sooner rather than later, because this here pursuit, it feels homicidal. It feels like it's the end of my life. It feels ingati angizophefumula ever again. It feels ingati angizophuma ku these shrubs that I've been hidden under. It appears ingati akitlozwa mona haebane ke tlokofala, please get it over and done with. But if not, ngpholose nglokolle ka matla a gago cause o modimo. Because situation in right now, and as seeing as the scepter of the wicked is not supposed to remain on the land allotted to the righteous, nahe protector from hobolai. Leng patla ka nkane nna ko le bolanya ne potisa la nkutla ko slice ditlhogonyana tsa lona tse tubileng matekwane tse seloyang tse senang maitseo tse nang le mamlambo o mongwe o le thusitseng gore lo kra dimensions tsa lona to a point of thinking you can flail them in front of any woman. Angithandi ngiyanzonda anginandaba noma ningabhoda kodwa kunabantwana aba 27 abantwana abana 27 no 26 that would be sad if ubaba wabo passed away before their wedding. So please ngiyancenga, for the sake of your sons and daughters that are about to get married, be there at the wedding and stop insisting on ravazareng on top of ikasi lo mfazi onganifuni. If you wanna kill me and murder me, at the end of the day, herein lies the deal, and I keep saying this time and time again. Nna ke mahodimong libizo la ka ke Lazarus, I come forth la nkutwa gape I go to heaven, and opposite there is hellfire where the rich man mo aplomileng teng kehla ya 65 years old empatlangankane will be in torments at the same time of my burial. Hale kampola lo na lo tlhakafala like dominoes, you will drop la nkutwa. You're not even gonna get an opportunity to attend the funeral here, because my death is going to be something that is going to inspire a domino effect, a wrathful one at that, where God is going to literally extract all of you like reaping with a sickle out from the earth. He is not gonna allow my death without it being a collateral death of yours. It will literally take you all into eternity. But I'm gonna go up while you will go down. However, this I will highlight, and I will keep on saying it. God is not going to judge the righteous with the wicked. He's not going to punish the righteous with the wicked. I am Noah, I am Daniel, I am Job. I do not get tsunamied when the tsunami comes. I am Lot, I get out of Sodom. Do you understand? I am Noah, I go in the ark. I am the child of God that is extracted before the bomb. So, even though I fear I might die, bottom line is I'm not. But you are. But I'm South Africa. I've tried to explain things at length. I am explaining and loquacious. Okay, khuluki. It's all good in the hood langutwa. As for Hugunzama Gangaka, angazi ukuthi kuzoproducani seeing as ning resistil. Bottom line is that I know uthi nisenkingeni limometsing amang atshisa nisemanzini amanye abilayo. You are in trouble for not only ignoring me for years but burying me so that other people can hear me. Nisenkingeni and ngiyanswela kodwa ngizamile. I've seen what goes down in South Africa because of TikTok, and I can't deal. It's grieving, and me coming here to talk to it is just an olive branch being offered to obstinate people. Mara lesas baiskelem. Kechelo before Gaga South Africa, you are gonna cease to be a country in the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. You know why? Cause bonangore le tsangjwanong. Le sto tulang kutwa. Le mene. You have destroyed your country and you have caused people to accept inyongo ngoba of the way you are so obstinate. But just because you have caused the world to accept nonsense doesn't mean that are consecrated to Osomandla on high, that we will also capitulate to the tsunami of ukusangana la emgaqweni that you all have been taken over by. It does not mean being drifted along after tsunami. Coca-Cola can le pampiria mazimba chips nze le busy floater mo metsing le oil le spill nze cause di penguin or di ska walk handle doesn't mean ukuthi just because the metso le na di tshila jwalo le rona go tsaya di tshila tse wena straight re lo tlhaba metsing a teng at least nka letter. We belong to Jesus. We do a different thing. And even though we are few and far between and re survive the things that people don't. Let's go cheba nkutle botlhoko ga kana ke tshaba for bophelo ba ka le nna self. Bottom line is go tshireletswa lona mara le naked because gala apara di robes a modimo tse tshireletsang. Ha le Shadrach a kere maina lena, ga le Meshach a kere maina lena, ga le Abednego a kere maina lena, ga le Daniel ko lions den a kere maina lena, ha le David, ha le escape solo le Absalom ke lona le bolawang ke di arrows tse tlang from all over the show. Mara rena, the righteous of God, 1,000 fall on our side, 10,000 on our right hands, but it doesn't come near us. Marlona tsunami gone just like that. Zamayang ha ban le batwa tsa di one thing. Do that. Marakale ka tlhaloganya this much. I will survive and you won't. Even though it would have appeared in the run-up too that I was the one dying while you're the one that survives. My admonition to you right now is repent or perish. You can't just keep taking all this rubbish in your stride and think ukuthi nizoba grand la emgaqweni. All I can say is hi bani one or two of y'all have deeds. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Repentang, lanze ele wena stoxiel alien only one. Tlogelang group think le tribal mentality, le peer pressure, le every man for himself or feeling nkare safety in numbers. That thing. God is the God of the minority, of the remnant. Like I said earlier, Mudimu has got a very big chunky reputation of rescuing Batungana 5 and destroying 10,000. So Jaka Hawenanzo holding on, latching on to crowding and ayaho sangana. Separate yourself abutitowe. Swa morabishing ew that you might be set free from the calamity, the excruciating one at that that's about to land on South Africa for all this rubbish. Nka se tlo fostwa ga botlhoko ga kana now lokilong ya la mono sa mbatleng wa khehla no gale on tswetsa ngore now apart from this thing the rest of my days. All these men, nobody wants to see me together, but it don't matter, no, because they think they are Akon. All these men that are saying it don't get no better than you. I'm sorry, I was never made for you. Akwa how obuti modimo go play ka jaka farole abima like le bele tlogela sera alone. Ke ntwe le tshwantse tlhaloganya eo situation eo. I have been thinking, let's see how this is going to end. The longer you are complacent doing nothing, and the longer you don't extract yourself from the flames of hell, the longer you don't extract yourself from the broad road, the longer you basically sit around in the bull's eye of a nuke about to land. You are literally God's target practice, and you are about to bomb with God literally obliterating you even before the tribulation. That's what's going on. You can't just stay in a grain. It's so destructive to your own understanding. Like your conscience feels it. You've got this gut feeling, the guilty. Mara, you are still holding on to rubbish. Like in that insanity and be okay. It's all I'm getting at. So I kill it hard. That's what I'm getting at. And as for banna, kopaliti saving nelo tlhokafala nna ke a bolai. Like that's what's good. Literally kinale a murderous intent. Ga go chekela banna go prison. Ga go besuka nna ko danyane. Awuthinyana ekongharase jail cell ya satane. Angizo besuka mina. Indota, eplomeno satani, a man that wants me to play a harp for him because I'm like David. He slaps me with an what do you call this, like a baby diding a dagger. I'm not going to be the wife of a man that feels relieved even though all up in my grill. That's what's good. I'm not going to be the wife of such a man as that. But if in the very highly unlikely event that I would end up a woman in that kind of man's incredibly crazy arms, I would kill him. Just by simply manifesting all the rubbish that they're into anyway. I have sought his face to make sure that that doesn't happen. And it's not going to happen, even though it's going to appear like that's the only way out of this. Ambanyo pota ever or live. Like proper. Repent or perish. But as for me, I'm not up for grabs. We're not doing this. But carry on, afflicting all of South Africa, and South Africa carry on being complacent in the center of it, and see how that ends for you. But as for those of you that are happy to go and grab the shelter that I'm offering under my fire blanket, come, you are welcome. Heaven rejoices when even one sinner repents. God is happy that you should finally realize that you must break away from this crazy crowd of group thinking menaces. You are not safe, okay? On that broad road, even though I look like I'm the one that's not safe here, I am literally the best bet that you got. That's all that I'm going to send in your general direction. I hope you've been edified. I'm signing out in Christ's name, Cran K. Peace.